So the Diddy trial has kicked off and day one is on the books. And it is already exposing the dark reality of Sean P. Diddy Combs and the heinous acts that he carried out against numerous victims, all while Hollywood circles clearly turned a blind eye, from production companies to agents to fellow celebrities who ironically constantly pretend to be moral crusaders and like to tell us what to think and tell us that they know what true empathy means. This case is pulling back the curtain on those who constantly preached about compassion while clearly ignoring actual victims of these vile predators. As justice unfolds, we're obviously going to demand answers and accountability for every enabler who looked the other way. So today we're going to go over day one of the trial, opening statements, witness testimony highlights, and these must-know moments that are already shaking up this case. But before we do, I am Outspoken Samantha, and I would love it if you would hit the thumbs up button on this video and subscribe to my channel, and also turn on the notification bell so that you never miss an upload. So as we already know, Sean Diddy Combs was arrested on September 16th, 2024 at a Manhattan hotel in New York City by federal agents from Homeland Security investigations. The initial charges, which were unsealed in a federal indictment on September 17th, 2024, included three major counts. Charge number one, racketeering conspiracy, alleging Combs led a criminal enterprise from at least 2004 to 2024 involving crimes like sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. And this carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. Charge number two is sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, accusing Combs of using his power to coerce and abuse women, including orchestrating drug-fueled freak-offs, which were extended sexual performances, with a maximum sentence of life in prison and a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years. And then there's charge number three, which is transportation to engage in prostitution, charging Combs with facilitating interstate prostitution, carrying a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. So these charges stemmed from allegations of a decades-long pattern of abuse, manipulation, and coercion, with Combs pleading not guilty. Now, jury selection began on May 5th, and it spanned over the course of several days, with approximately 600 prospective jurors initially filling out questionnaires to assess their impartiality and their familiarity with the case, particularly regarding Combs' allegations and the 2016 surveillance video showing him assaulting Cassie Ventura. Final jury selection was not made until May 12th because there were concerns about jurors getting cold feet the weekend before things even started. The final jury consists of 12 jurors and 6 alternates, and it is being described as a diverse group. So then we get to the opening statements of the prosecution and the defense, and this next clip just kind of summarizes what both sides presented.
Hip-hop mogul Sean Combs seated at the defense table, federal prosecutors began their case. They told a jury that Combs committed crime after crime with his trusted inner circle for years. Those crimes, they said, included kidnapping, arson, drug offenses, sex crimes, and bribery. Prosecutor Emily Johnson telling the jury Combs, quote, used lies, drugs, threats, and violence to coerce women into having sex with him in front of male escorts. These so-called freak-offs with hip-hop mogul Sean Combs seated at the defense table, federal prosecutors began their case. They told a jury that Combs committed crime after crime with his trusted inner circle for years. Those crimes, they said, included kidnapping, arson, drug offenses, sex crimes, and bribery. Prosecutor Emily Johnson telling the jury Combs, quote, used lies, drugs, threats, and violence to coerce women into having sex with him in front of male escorts. These so-called freak-offs lasted days and involved drugs. 2 women set to testify about those, quote, painful experiences include the singer Cassie Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend. The other referred to as, quote, Jane. Prosecutor saying, quote, if Cassie didn't do what the defendant wanted, the consequences were severe. The defendant beat her viciously. Evidence introduced in the case includes this surveillance video obtained by CNN showing Combs striking, kicking, and dragging Ventura at a Los Angeles hotel in 2016. Combs has since apologized. An attorney for Combs disputing the accusations, saying the government was trying to turn the choices of consenting adults into a racketeering case. Sean Combs is a complicated man, but this is not a complicated case. This case is about love, jealousy, infidelity, and money, said defense attorney Tenny Garagos. The defense conceding Combs, quote, has a temper and, quote, got violent, but insisted that was not part of a conspiracy, saying, quote, domestic violence is not sex trafficking. They also dismissed those freak-offs, saying Combs led, quote, a swinger lifestyle and participated in consensual threesomes. Prosecutors say they have as many as 20 witnesses that could take the stand in this trial. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, New York.
Those were the opening statements from both sides. One saying that all of these things happened and we have all of the proof, and the other one saying, well, yeah, these things may have happened, but they don't lead up to the charges that you are claiming, against this man. Next, we had a couple of witnesses that testified yesterday who were named Israel Florez and Daniel Philip. Now, these two, from what I can tell, were primarily focused on the abuse that they witnessed Diddy act out against Cassie Ventura, and not just harming her physically, but the humiliation, the degradation, and the overall dehumanization of this woman in every way possible. Florez was an assistant director of security at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles on March 5th, 2016, during the incident that was captured on surveillance video showing Combs assaulting Ventura. And then Phillip was a male review manager / escort. So to summarize what these two individuals testified about, I am going to refer to an account on TikTok called Just in the Nick of Crime, and he goes over the highlights of what they talked about very well.
Let's talk about the two witnesses who kicked off Diddy's trial because their testimony was devastating. The first up is Israel Florez, who is now part of the LAPD, but back then in 2016, he worked as assistant director of security for the hotel in Los Angeles where that infamous Cassie video came from. He recalled getting a distress call from a woman on the 6th floor. That woman is, of course, Cassie. Now, when he got up there, he saw Diddy slouched in a chair, half naked, giving him what he described as a devilish stare. Now, when Cassie said that she wanted to leave, Diddy responded with, "You're not going anywhere." And Florez responded by saying, if she wants to leave, she's going to leave. Then at some point, Diddy gave him a bunch of cash, or tried to give him a bunch of cash with a $100 bill on top, saying, "Don't tell nobody." And basically, Florez said he wasn't interested in his money. But the biggest moment came when jurors saw video surveillance footage of Diddy beating Cassie, punching, kicking, dragging her by her hair back to her room. And this was footage that nobody has ever seen. This is not the video that we have all seen. Not only that, it was at several different angles, and this is the prosecution's key piece of evidence. Next up was Daniel Philip, who was a male stripper who recalled being hired by Cassie for S parties with Diddy. He said that Cassie would wear what Diddy demanded, which typically was red lace high heels and sunglasses. He said that he got paid thousands of dollars to rub baby oil on Cassie and have S with her while Diddy watched. Diddy even at one point made him hand over his driver's license, which Phillip said he believed was a threat. Then it took a darker turn. He testified to seeing Cassie basically passed out after these encounters. He testified to the fact that Diddy would then drag her by her hair, screaming, and after she didn't come, he would say, quote, "B, except the full word, when I tell you to come, you come now, not later." Now, Phillip said that he didn't intervene, and the reason for that was because he knew that his bodyguards were in the other room, and he was worried that if he tried to intervene, that he could possibly lose his life. And just remember, guys, this is day one of witness testimony, violence, S parties, bribes. Can you imagine if this is how the trial started? What else we have coming up?
And just to go into a little more detail about how dark this stuff was, in this tweet it says, P. Diddy trial updates. Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial escalated on Monday afternoon as Daniel Phillip, a 41-year-old male escort, was called to the witness stand. In an extremely graphic testimony that lasted about an hour, Phillip was questioned by lead prosecutor Maureen Comey about his sexual encounters with Combs and his then-girlfriend Cassandra, or Cassie Ventura, from around 2012 to 2014. According to Phillip, he was paid between $700 and $6,000 on several occasions to have S with Ventura as Combs watched and pleasured himself. On more than one occasion, he witnessed Combs physically abusing Ventura, and in one instance, he was given the drug MDMA. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, Diddy's daughters were present in the courtroom with him, and even they couldn't stand to hear some of the things that were revealed.
Within minutes, his own daughters got up and walked out of the courtroom, and here's why. I'm going to avoid as many triggering words as I can so this does not get taken down. Here goes. So it starts with testimony from Daniel Phillip, a former escort who says Diddy paid him to be with Cassie while he watched from the corner. Yep, you heard that right. And as soon as the details got graphic, his daughters, all 18 and sitting next to his mother, got up and left the room. They came back, but the moment the testimony kept going, they dipped again. And that's just the beginning. Phillip also told the jury that he heard Diddy beating Cassie in the other room during one of these setups and dragging her by the hair for saying the words, "Hold on." And remember the elevator assault from 2016? Yep, that was shown to the jury too. The same video Diddy allegedly paid $100,000 to bury. The guard later testified that Diddy handed him a stack of cash topped with a $100 bill and said, "Take care of this and don't tell anyone." This was all on day one, and tomorrow, Cassie herself is expected to take the stand as pregnant as she is after years of alleged physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. From courtroom walkouts to buried footage, this trial is unearthing everything.
Now, obviously, because there is video evidence of what he did to Cassie Ventura, there's no way to prove that this man is innocent. But as I said earlier, the defense is taking the route that, well, yes, this was DV and, harm against his partner, but it's not sex trafficking, which are obviously the charges that they are trying to pursue. But lastly, I did want to touch on the fact that there are some whisperings of the celebrities who could be named in this trial. So according to this article in the New York Post, it says jurors at Sean Diddy Combs' sensational sex trafficking trial could hear a slew of celebrity name drops, including Kanye West, Michael B. Jordan, and Mike Myers when testimony kicks off next week. During the first day of jury selection Monday in the Manhattan federal sex crimes case against Combs, 55, a group of potential panelists was read a long list of bold-faced names that might be mentioned, including the controversial rapper West, who goes by Ye, and the two famous actors. Now, obviously, as we know, just because names are being dropped does not mean that they had direct involvement in what was going on or that they participated in the most heinous acts that Sean Diddy Combs seemed to particularly enjoy. It could mean that they knew what was going on. It could mean that they witnessed something. It just means that they have something to offer to hopefully put this man in jail forever. So of course, we have to wait to find out. But those were the main points of the trial on day one. And I mean, if this is what has happened so far, this is going to be an absolute poop show. And I have to wonder who in Hollywood is sweating bullets right now, who is struggling to sleep at night. Now, it is being reported that one of the victims, known only as Victim 3, seems to have backed out. They are currently not responding to calls or emails, and this might be something that negatively impacts the case. However, as much as I absolutely hope that this person is safe, and I do hope that they are brave enough to come forward, I think we're going to be bombarded with witnesses and testimony. So the impact of this one missing victim hopefully will be minimal. Other than that, I don't have a lot of thoughts other than the obvious, that this man was allowed to do these things for decades. And not only did no one stop him, they knew about it and didn't stop him. No one advocated for the victims. And it's also clear that money is the only thing that talks in Hollywood. So when they get up there and give their speeches on empathy and being a good person and working for their dreams and trying to be inspiring to us, you have to wonder how much they are being paid to say the things that they say, because it looks like both silence and speech are bought and paid for in this industry, and these people cannot be trusted at all. It also makes me wonder, who else are they covering for? I mean, when I used to watch award shows and I was fascinated by these people living their lavish lifestyles, I was in awe of them. But now, when I see them walking the red carpet, my thought is, what are they hiding? What have they seen? What do they know? And what are they being forced to cover up? Clearly, their smiles, their joy, and their empathy is nothing but an act. But I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this in the comments below. If you would like me to keep providing updates on what's going on, let me know that as well. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Other than that, keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.